Good morning, class, international. Today we have a special guest. We have Chef Doreen Colondres from La Cocina No Muerde. This is an international syndicated show about cooking, about the foundations of what we do and ingredients, farm to the table, and also she goes to different places and travels all over the world and connects with the farmers and connects with different chefs and does segments in about their foods, about their products, about what they share with the world. So today we have with that being in Spain and we're having a special moment of learning about her journeys in Spain. She spends a lot of time in Spain, and she's also bringing a lot of her knowledge into our classroom today. With that, I don't wanna take any more of your time, and class, meet Chef Doreen Colondres.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here, and I want to congratulate you for doing this. I think
Thank
it's a
you.
great opportunity for you guys to have the information or people who are in the field, like learning and getting input from other chefs and or different countries, and to have the real thing, because sometimes is a different world what we experience here from the outside, and I didn't have that opportunity when I went to school, so
Mhm.
it's great that you're doing this because I have a little bit of the real thing.
Yes, yes, I agree. When I was in school, I never had an opportunity. And this is many years ago, but I never had an opportunity to have a guest chef, a celebrity chef, come into our classroom and share some of their experiences. In fact, our education back in the '90s was a little bit different. It was really about handouts,
Oh
notebook.
yeah.
It was just handouts and go and cook and I'll see you at the end of the day. And so it was very different. So these sort of opportunities are new, are unique, and I hope that you're taking full advantage.
Very briefly, food was my passion. I grew up, I don't know, a family that it was all about food, morning, lunch, and dinner. Everything was totally fresh. I studied marketing and business, and I work in the food industry in that department. But not until 6 or 7 years ago, I decided to to work in the food industry as I'm doing right now. And I create a brand that it's called The Kitchen Doesn't Bite, La Cocina No Muerde, because my concern it was when I moved here to Miami, I was cooking every day, and I thought it was the same thing for all my friends, and they were clueless about everything. They were clueless about how to pick a wine, how to select an olive oil, how to buy a turkey for Thanksgiving and put it in the oven. And stuff like that. There, I was like impressed and at the same time sad because I don't know. I was always eating fresh and not getting extra calories, and they were always complaining about they were like gaining fat and all of that. And it was like, okay, you should cook more at home. You should cook. I mean, it doesn't bite. So it was kind of like a fun thing that ended a very serious and well, it's still fun for me. I'm workaholic, but that's my story. Right now, I have different cooking shows with Fox in Espanol with Fox Life that airs in 16 different countries. I'm a food editor of a national magazine. I write for different newspapers in Latin America and here in the U.S. What else I do? I'm a spokesperson for different brands for a pharmaceutical company. We work with diabetics person for Bordeaux, for Bumblebee, the gourmet line of Bumblebee canned tuna products. Um, what else? I don't know. And I do, local TV for NBC and Telemundo and Univision. And I do radio and I travel all the time. I don't know. That's
Maybe chef
it.
instructor now.
But then for the past, I will say for the past 3 years, I'm very passionate about everything. Like I decided to write and learn about tequila, and I go to Mexico, and I spend true. I spent 5 days learning what happened with the agave plant in 10 years. And I want to learn and I want to be there and I want to plant the hijuela, which is called the little agave plant, and do everything until I bottle my own bottle of tequila. I like to learn that because there's no other way of teaching people about what is the importance of a product, or why you should buy the tequila of $10-20 versus the $50. There's a big difference. It's not about brand, it's about the quality. It's about this 100% agave from the protected area, la 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 la, and I give you all the blah blah to convince you, and teach you everything about a product. So that's the essence of what I do. I'm very passionate about it. And for the past 3 years, I've been studying the Spanish cuisine, which I love, um, probably as much as Mexican cuisine. And I'm from Puerto Rico, and we have a lot of influence from Spain, but also a lot of countries in Latin America. I think Spanish cuisine is the most important influence of all Hispanics, and a little bit in the U.S. too, because we have what happened in the West Coast, in Texas and New Mexico and California and all of that. That it's a little bit seasoned with Spanish cuisine too. So I'm still learning. I think nobody can say that. I mean, you know everything in this industry. Not even in my own country, Puerto Rico. I learn every day something new, and I'm in the process. But I'm here to trying to like give you a little bit of the real flavor or Spanish cuisine that is not only about croquetas and tapas and paella. Okay, there's 5 other amazing rices better than a paella to learn about to learn from Spain. And we're lucky that we have a lot of ingredients, because I mean we pretty much can cook anything, like Ecuadorian food, which is actually fantastic. I just went to Ecuador last year. Or Mexican or Peruvian or any country, and you can find in the grocery store pretty much everything. Not all, but pretty much everything. So to me, Spain, Spanish cuisine, it takes time to learn. I mean, it's so diverse. The climates and the soils are so different that it's huge. I mean, it's extremely diverse, and it's very rich, but per region. They have Spain is divided into comunidades instead of states. So there's 17 comunidades autónomas, then divided by provincias, and then divided by municipios. So, for example, I don't know, you find the cuisine, you can say the cuisine of the south or the cuisine of Andalusia. And inside of Andalusia, there's you have Cádiz, which their cuisine is fantastic. But inside of Cádiz, you have El Puerto de Santa Maria, which they have their own clams. So imagine like how small it gets. And then each town, they have their own cheese, their own clams, their own cows, their own pigs. And it's stunning because it's super, super, super rich, and everything is protected. Like every good product is protected, like the wine. They have denominaciones de origen, which is called like appellations, like the same thing that occurs with the wine or the olive oil. So they protect everything. And then what I mentioned before, I mean, every Hispanic country is seasoned with a little bit of the Spanish cuisine. I mean, I grew up in Puerto Rico, like knowing that Mallorcas, which is a very delicious and sweet bread that we eat very often, is tradition. Is part of the tradition of Puerto Rico. Yeah, Mallorcas. Until I arrived to Palma de Mallorca in Spain, and I realized that a Mallorquí moved 150 years ago to Puerto Rico, and he opened this place, very popular, just making ensaimadas, which is the right name. But it was for him easier to call them Mallorcas because he was from Mallorca Island. So when I arrived to Palma de Mallorca, I said, oh my goodness, they do Mallorcas here. They're not called Mallorca, they're ensaimadas, and we are the owners of the Mallorcas. And it's the same thing that happened in Mexico. When I go to Mexico, they have the molletes, which is the name of a, I don't know, it's a delicious bread that they do in Jalisco that they put beans and pico de gallo, and they eat it in the morning. Mollete is the name of the bread, and mollete is the name of the bread in Spain. not in Mexico, but we have a little bit of their original cuisine. So, um, one of the recommendations that I have for the presentation tomorrow a lot of things to say, but in addition to be very passionate to what you do, in addition to respect the ingredients, to respect the traditional cuisine of each country, it's very important to meet the chefs of the country that you want to work with. I mean, there's so much to learn. If you can't travel, it's not an excuse. YouTube is fantastic, and books are great. I brought a lot of books that I like from Spain. We can just pass the book later on or now. Seamus Millen, he's from here, from the U.S. He has a fantastic restaurant in New York, and he's very passionate. He only cooks Spanish food. Then Jose Andres, I think everybody, knows Jose Andres. Ferran Adrià, the guy who invented the molecular gastronomy. Then this book is fantastic if you want to learn about everything in general. Then we have Angel Leon, which is someone that I really admire. He's a really good friend, and he's right now the most well-known chef in the world, like working with seafood. He only cooks seafood. He has a Michelin star restaurant in Puerto de Santa Maria in Cádiz. Okay, so what I mentioned about denominaciones de origen, they protect everything. They protect the wine, they protect the rice, they protect everything we can eat or drink. If it's good, they just create a denominación de origen to protect the standard, to protect the quality of that product all over the country. And then I'm gonna go briefly through a few of the most important ingredients that probably you're familiar with some of them. But let's start talking about the azafran or saffron that provides color, aroma, and flavor. It's very expensive because it's a work that they do by hand. It's the steam of a flower. They have to pick that flower certain days per year, only certain time, only 2 hours before the sun comes, and then have to remove it manually, and then they have to dry it up. So that's why it's very expensive. But it's like, I will say, probably one of the most important ingredients in Spanish cuisine. Then we have the pimentón, which is a smoked sweet paprika. To avoid confusions, there's different types of paprika in the world. Spicy, not spicy, sweet, not sweet, smoked, not smoked. The one used in Spain is the smoked sweet paprika, and it has a denominación de origen. The most important one, it's called de la vera, which is the place where they do that particular pimentón. And the difference is the way that they smoke the pimentón, which is actually a chile that they just roast and then convert into a powder. So pimentón de la vera, if for some reason one time you want to use it, just try to get that. Here in Miami, and I think Delicias España, they have it. We paid overpriced here, but you can get it. It's the right way of when you want to cook something very traditional. The more traditional you get in terms of the quality of the ingredients, like if you want to cook with pimentón, just try to use a protected, a pimentón with denominación de origen, because it will taste more real, more authentic. And it has different degrees also. Sweet, bittersweet, and spicy. Then we have the ñora peppers, which I brought, which are these ones over here. This is another dry, it's not a chile, it's a pepper, it's considered a pepper. And they dry this, and what you do is you have to put it in water to soak it in water to hydrate, and then you remove the steams and the seeds, and then you scrape the they call the meat of it. No, so it's not like when you work with a chile from Mexico that you put the whole chile in the blender and prepare the sauce and ready to go. No, over here you have to scrape the meat, because the skin doesn't add any added value to to the recipe. Okay, you'll find those in here in Miami too, in ¿cómo se llama? Delicias de España. The they use it for a lot of different rices in Alicante, um, in Navarra, in Catalunya. They use it very often. It's delicious. And then the pimiento choricero, which is another different dry pepper, is also really good. That one is really difficult to find here, but probably in a jar. It comes already the puree, and it's very very good. Then pimientos de padrón. I guess a few of those. Have you tried the pimientos de padrón? The pimientos that they fry and then they add sea salt at the end. They're fantastic. There's some spicy, they're not. So it's a fun thing that they when they put a tapa or a dish of pimientos de padrón on the table. It's like, okay, who's gonna go take the lucky ones? Because like probably 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 5, they're like ridiculous spicy, and the other ones that's super sweet and delicious. And that is very very popular. Then the guindillas. There are different types of guindillas. The ones that I really like to use are these ones that I have over here. I don't know if you see it. There's big guindillas, fresh, dry, different ones. In cuisine, to add flavor and spiciness, these are fantastic. I don't know if you have heard about the gambas con ajillo. Pues las gambas al ajillo. They have guindillas on it, and en el pilpil, sometimes they use it, and I mean the entire Spain they use it. They're fantastic. Then we have the pimientos de piquillo, which are fantastic. I mean we can find that in sometimes even in Publix. We find the pimientos de piquillo. They're great. They're very delicious. Very popular in La Rioja and in Navarra. And the good thing about them is like, I mean, you just put it on a piece of bread for a tapa and something on top if you want, or you can fill it with whatever you want. They're fantastic. And then the rices that are very popular, the bomba rice, calasparra rice, and we can get creative about talking about rice. And I mean the cheese. I mean, in addition to French cheeses, I think the next country that it's all about cheese is Spain. They have, I mean, extraordinary cheeses. Manchego, Mahon, Romero, Tetilla, Idiazabal. There's so many, and they're specifically per. I mean, in different areas you find like the best cheese from this town or the other one. Then the story with the pescados azules. So then in that category we have like the mackerel, the bonito, sardines, salmon, anchovies, tuna. I don't know if you understand those pictures about the tuna, but in Andalusia is in a town that it's called Barbate, is the most important place in the world to catch the tuna. It's the way that they do it is an ancient traditional way of doing it that they call the almadraba. And then the Japanese, they go there. Most of them, they live there. And then they every year they decide what is the price of the tuna. And then they send that tuna to Japan. Only a very little amount stays in Spain, but then the rest of the world, they have to buy it from Japan or from this very little amount of people that keeps this delicacy in Spain. It's like the most amazing tuna you can ever have, because then you come here and you taste the tuna and you say, okay, this is, I don't know, a strange fish with some color number 4. Okay? It's fantastic. I mean, you go to a restaurant in that area and you'll find 40 dishes in the menu, and they're all from different parts of the tuna. And they even show you like what part, how much fattening it is. I mean, it's fantastic. It's a great experience. Then we have the wine. I mean, there's 69 denominaciones de origen about the wine. They do fantastic wines, and it's the same story with the olive oil. About wine and olive oil, we can talk about. We can spend 5 days talking about wines and olive oil in Spain. But I mean, the culture about olive oil is incredible. I mean, people do olive oil tastings all the time. Um, I mean, they protect that so much that is incredible. They go into different types of olives. You can be able to recognize if it's arbequina olive, if it's picual. Then you decide when you create a dish, you say, "Oh my gosh, I need a splash of picual olive oil into this," because you start like recognizing all the aromas and characteristics of the olive oil. They use a lot of olive oil. They fry the potatoes in olive oil. They fry your eggs in olive oil. They do everything with olive oil, like my grandma does. So, um, what else I can say about olive oil? The most important region to me producing olive oil is Andalusia, Catalonia. They do a lot of olive oil, but Andalusia is amazing. They do extraordinary olive oils. And what else? You want to say something about olive oil?
They can separate the water from the oil itself, and then they use that. The first press is always really green, and as you continue to press that oil or centrifuge the oil, then you lose a little bit on the color, but the flavor is there. And there's also differences in different uses. If you're gonna use a cold press, don't cook with it. That's why it's cold. Keep it cold. If you're gonna use 100%, it's a little bit different. Then there's veggies and corns and all that. But in Spain, they like to use the really high quality olive oil, and they use olive oil like the ocal, which is usually is used for the desserts. Arbequina, which is usually used for tomatoes and lettuces and stuff like that. Picudo, which you could sous vide or you put on the runner. They call it a runner or sous vide. In this case, we like to sous vide a little bit of fish, nice and light. So you there's different purposes for different olives and olive oils.
They're very concerned about the level of acidity on an olive oil, that you can see it in pretty much every good quality of olive oil. They show you the level of acidity. The lower the level of acidity, the better. You will not taste a better quality because of the level of acidity, but it's very important because the level of acidity, what it says is the time that passes since they pick the olive until they starting the process of making the oil, and in that process, the way that they move them or transfer the olive is very important, and the way that they pick the olives from the tree, if it's a machine that does this to the tree or if it's hand picked, and all of that, it's what affects the level of acidity. And also the color of the jar is very important. Don't buy any olive oil that comes in a light bottle, transparent glass, because it oxidizes the olive very quickly. So a good producer will be concerned about their product, so they will put the olive oil in dark jar. So that is very important. I challenge you, if you go to a grocery store, if you want to start playing around, and don't go to, I mean, very expensive. This is like 20 something here in Miami. It's fantastic. It's probably one of the top threes that I like from Spain. I have a bottle that is $100. So imagine how crazy they go. I got it as a gift, of course. I didn't pay $100 for the olive, but it's fantastic. Yeah. I collect olive oil, so I'm super fan. But Whole Foods, they have the 365 label. They're doing pretty decent, and they have different. Like you can find 100% arbequina, 100% picual, and that's a good option to start if you want to start recognizing between different olives. Then the other thing that they do, like nobody else in the world, is like preserve ingredients, like tuna can. I mean, the bonito, all types of seafood, the peppers, the olives. I mean, they're the masters in preserve ingredients. They're very, very good. Okay, we can talk about ham for another week too. Um, but I need to. My purpose today, in 2 minutes, is to understand something. Prosciutto is from Italy.
Yes.
Jamon is from Spain. Okay? Jamon serrano is not the same thing as jamon ibérico. Jamón ibérico is not the same thing as jamón ibérico de bellota. Okay? And we're not going to go too deep because in Spain they have like recebo and no recebo, la la. They have even more types that we don't sell here in the United States because it's a ridiculous regulated process of ham. So you have to understand, jamón serrano is a the what's the most, I mean, it's the cheapest one, the most known. Everybody knows about jamón serrano. Is produced in different parts of the countries. There's regulations, but there are not a lot of regulations, and it's a little bit more salty, and it's a particular race of pig. It's a usually it's called cerdo rosado, which is just a normal pig. Okay. Ibérico is a different race of pig. Okay. The Ibérico is protected, not the same denominación de origen as jamón serrano. Ibérico is totally different. That's why it's more expensive. It takes more years to produce. This, we're talking about 4 or 5 years of producing one leg. So imagine why it's so expensive. Then we have the Ibérico, which has a certain denominación de origen, a certain climate, certain towns that can produce the Ibérico. The Ibérico is a race from the Iberian part, and that's it. Okay. If I took too much, you're gonna get confused. And then the Ibérico is what sometimes people call pata negra. They all have pata negra. It's the same thing. Then we have the Ibérico de Bellota, which is a specific race, which is the Ibérico, but there's more regulations in terms of the race of the mother, the race of the father, the way they cross it, the way that their grandma was and was living and was eating. So it gets more complicated. Plus, they have certain eating habits, and they go out free range during a season called Montanera, which is the season for the bellota, from the acorn that produce certain type of trees. They go out during the Montanera period, which is I don't remember, but it's Montanera is between November and February, I guess. And then they go out and they eat only acorns. The acorns provide the sweetness, the meltiness thing, the creaminess, a lot of fat to it, a different aroma, a different color, a different taste. And then after the Montanera, then they go to the process of probably 3 more years. The sacrifice, I mean, they add the salt for a few days, then they're clean, then they go to the climate of the region that produce this ham is important because they're in rooms with open air. They open and close the windows of those huge, gigantic rooms to get the right temperature and the right air at the right time per day. They have employees just opening and closing the doors for the jamones for probably 2 years or 3 years until the jamon is ready to sell. So, I mean, those are the things that, I mean, I get very passionate to show people because not everybody has a chance to understand those things. And it's totally different world from Italy with the issue with the prosciutto and prosciutto San Daniel and prosciutto di Parma, which are also like different categories inside of Italy. And the way of doing it is also totally different to the way they do it and the way they cut it, because Italians, they use machines to cut the hams. and the Spanish one, you have to learn how to cut a pata, because after you spend $1,500 in a pata, make sure you know how to cut it. So, I mean, that's, I hope you understand a little bit better the issue with the ham, but it's a very, very interesting um, area to study. I've been there to learn how they use, I mean, how they prepare it, how they do the sacrifice. Now this year, I'm planning to go to the Montanera because I'm dying to see the pigs eating the acorns. Probably I'm gonna film a show there, but I mean, it's very interesting. Then we have the jamon mangalica, which I want to talk about because you'll find that here they have really good distribution in the United States. It's a ham that Ferran Adrià and other chefs, they started using it. So it became kind of like a trend in the United States. In Spain, they don't like it, of course, because, I mean, it's not a pig from Spain. It's not part of their tradition. And jamon mangalica is the third picture, the one in the middle. I don't know if you see three pigs over there that they look like sheep. Yeah. Okay, that's an Hungarian pig that they found it, that they're very, very fattening. And somehow someone decided to, oh, it has so much fat. Let's try to make kind of like the same style of jamon ibérico with the Hungarian pig, and they made it. And probably if we do a tasting here, because we're on another level, we're not gonna find a huge difference. Probably majority of us will not find a difference, but there's a lot of difference. And unfortunately, they're selling in the United States as expensive as jamon ibérico de bellota. So if you see the mangalica in a store here in Miami, now you can understand the difference. Then their world about mushrooms and truffles is incredible. My goodness, the best mushrooms I ever tried in my life. I've been to the forest to just do the picking of the mushrooms. They're very, very, very passionate about the mushroom season, and the way they cook it. I mean, it's very important to understand. Don't clean it. Just brush it a little bit if it has particulates. They're full of flavor. They're fantastic. They're delicate. Don't overcook a mushroom. You want to taste the mushroom. You want to feel the texture of a mushroom. Just be very, very respectful with the mushroom. I mean, I had the chance to like take it very seriously and take care about the mushrooms that I eat. The black truffles, they have also incredible black truffle forest in Soria and Burgos, which is part of Castilla y León. Is the region where Ribera del Duero and Segovia, where they eat the pig, el cochinillo. So they have a lot of thing about truffles and mushrooms. Okay, so I'm going now very, very quickly per region. I wish I can have a map included so you can kind of like situate yourself in Spain. But Catalonia, I mean, where Barcelona is, it's a region very popular for their cava, for their garnacha grape to make the wine, where Mari Montaña dish was created, like land and the thing that having the piece of lobster and the steak in the surf and turf. Then we have the La Boqueria, which is the most popular market in Spain, one of the most important in the world. You can find everything there. And then popular ingredients in that area, pan con tomate. I know you've heard about pan con tomate. It's so intense, the issue with the pan con tomate in that area, that you go to a restaurant and you find a bottle of olive oil, a basket with tomatoes, and a basket of the garlic. And then you're supposed to just take the piece of bread, cut the tomato, and scrape the garlic and just start doing this by your own on each table on each restaurant. Is very, very nice. And then the crema catalana, which is very popular. Then we have in Islas Baleares, we have the ensaimada that we talk about, is the first picture over there. The sobrasada, which is a traditional sausage, is a very tender sausage, is the third picture. You can, I mean, is pretty much like a puree. Then the coca, which is, are they making coca? No, right? Okay, coca is kind of like a flatbread, typical in Spain. It's fantastic because they have, you can do sweet coca or salty ones, and you can do anything with a coca. It's great. Then the popular cheese is the mahon, which is the only square cheese in the world. It has denominación de origen. It's great. It's fantastic. You find it here in Miami. I love it because they have the semicurado, the curado, and the añejo. And the añejo is, I mean, I use it sometimes instead of a Parmesan cheese. I mean, if I have to do a recipe with cheese from Spain, don't use a Parmesan cheese. Please. Use a Spanish cheese. So, I mean, it's a great cheese and it melts really good. It's not like the manchego that doesn't melt. This one melts really good. Then in Navarra, the trout, the pimientos de piquillo we spoke about, the roncal cheese, the duck farming, and the pacharran, which I'm going to talk about the pacharran in another country. I mean, another area, which is here, La Rioja. Pacharran is the second picture, those little grapes that are called endrinas. They do a very popular, I don't know, it's kind of like a alcoholic beverage between alcohol, I mean, between rum and wine, I will say. It's a strong, probably es como un, ¿cómo que le llamamos nosotros al? It's like a pitorro. It's like, yeah, it's a very high in alcohol. It's very popular. Then La Rioja is very popular for viticulture. Tempranillo is the most popular grape in La Rioja, I mean, in the entire Spain. And they eat basically, I mean, a lot of beans. The pochas, the cranberry beans that we find sometimes here in the US are extremely delicious. They call it October beans too. They're fantastic. And a lot of stews, a lot of meat. I mean, you go there and it's all about, they call it the winemaker's food. It's like extreme, super comfort food. People are adorable. It's all about getting together and start cooking and start eating. Then in the País Vasco, which I think you're gonna cook some hake or.
Well, we couldn't get hake, but we're getting monkfish.
Okay, so I mean they're very popular for Idiazabal cheese and the pil pil, and also the how is it called, the cocochas, which are 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth picture, I mean from my side, probably from your side is the second one, but the cocochas, which are the la papada del pescado. Sí. I mean, they do it in pil pil because it's very fattening and it's a sauce that it gets, you can, ¿cómo se llama? It gets thicker very fast just with the fat of the skin of the fish. And then the bacalao, the bacalao thing is like ridiculous, stunning. You go to bacalao stores. You don't find the bacalao. I mean, you will find it, but I mean, people go to a bacalao stores and they have the bacalao, as you see in the picture, like per part of the cod. You want it like in migas to do croquetas. You want the lomo. You want the whatever, you name it. It's there. It's already cod. It's fantastic, their cod culture. Then in Asturias, it's all about cider, la sidra, the salmon, the sea urchin, the meat butchering, sausage is pretty much all over. And then the fabada asturiana, which is a very rich soup with beans and different types of sausages. And then figs and cabrales. I think you're doing something with cabrales and figs today, right? Then in Galicia, the percebes, the octopus, The mussels, scallops, razor clams, and oyster farmers. I don't know if you know that doing mussels and clams and oysters in farms is actually good. It's not bad. So it's very important. I mean, for you to understand, don't stick with the that farm is bad, because the farm for this type of seafood is done in the ocean and it's good. Then in Castilla León, my gosh, it's the best part for wine in Spain. The Vega Sicilia Único, which is one of the most popular wines in the world, is from that area. It's Ribera
Like
del Duero.
$20,000 a bottle.
20,000? Nah, depending on the year
year.
and well, yeah, depending on the years. Yeah, it's very expensive. The best year and the Único one is probably yes. If not, if you go to another year, maybe $500, 400. Then I mean, it's a delicious region. It's beautiful. Then they have a very intense culture of pinchos and tapas. And then the most important thing, in addition to the mushrooms and truffle and their cecina, is the cochinillo culture. The pork and the lamb. The way they do it, to call it lechal or cochinillo. They are only eating the milk of the mother, and they're only 21 days old. That's why it's so tender, it's so flavorful, it's so delicious. But I mean, they have a normal life. It's not like what everybody says about the veal here in the United States. It's extremely tender and flavorful, and it has, of course, denominación de origen because it's extremely protected. Then in Madrid, the popularity about the montaditos, the bocadillos, the cocido madrileño, which is another type of soup, tortilla patatas, and the churros con chocolate, which is a very strong tradition. In Castilla-La Mancha, we have also the cheese, which is the manchego. Everybody knows manchego. Then the honey culture, and because of the honey culture, they create the torrijas. It's always about like why they do the best, I don't know, tapas with mushrooms, because they are the best ones producing the mushrooms. And when they do this, it's always a story. It's why they do the sopa de ajos, very popular in this town, because they produce the best garlic that are protected with a denominación de origen. So it's very passionate thing, and every recipe in every town, it has a different story. Then in Extremadura is where the Iberian pigs are, and the pimenton. They have really good wild vegetables that we can't find here, unfortunately. Fantastic vegetables. And I'm finishing. Then we have in Valencia the rice. I mean, Valencia rice, everybody knows paella valenciana. But in addition to paella, there's an arroz caldoso, there's an arroz a la banda, there's an arroz costra, there's an arroz a la plancha, there's a fideuá. There's a lot of other recipes that I wish everybody of you can Google and can learn about those, because they're fantastic. They have a lot of citrus, fantastic different types of citrus, almonds and nuts. They have the Marcona almonds, which are fantastic. And because they have the best almonds, there are the masters making the turron, which I know everybody knows the turron. And the ñoras, which are the ones that I explained to you at the beginning. And then to finish, we have the Islas Canarias, which is, if someone from here is from Puerto Rico or from Latin America, or even from here, I mean, they have everything that we have here because of the climate. Like bananas, avocados, papaya, all the tropical and exotic fruits. And they do also fantastic pastries that they call, it's kind of like an empanada, but sweet. And they produce really good sugar, rum, and tobacco. Oh my gosh, at the end, Andalusia. I'm sorry, oh my gosh, my favorite. One of the most diverse cuisines in Spain. In Andalusia, to give you an example, one of my favorite parts is Cadiz, and is 4 hours from Granada, which is still part of Andalusia. Granada is the most popular town for the tapas tradition. You go to any tapas bar over there, and as long as you order one drink, I mean, it's not a drink, it's a beer or wine, they will give you a free tapa. So you can eat for free, basically, as long as you're drinking. It's seasoned by Moors and Arabs. And The fish and the seafood is fantastic. The best tuna, I explained to you about the tuna. They have a DO for the jamon serrano, which is fantastic. The cherry wine and the cherry vinegar world, which is stunning. The Jerez, I know you've heard about Jerez. I mean, it's not like the wine exactly because it's more complicated. They use one grape, and out of a Palomino grape, they do 10 different types of Jerez. They all have different characteristics, different colors, different aromas. Is an incredible word of in the wine industry. The best olive oil, as I mentioned before, they come from Andalusia. And then popular dishes. Oh my gosh, this is unfair to talk about Andalusia in just one sheet. But they have salmorejo, which is something that I'm gonna try to make today. Habichuelas con calabaza. I thought it was from my country. It's from there. The gazpacho andaluz, which is very popular, but I think salmorejo is better. The mojama, which is the first picture over there, it's just lomo de atún, is atún dry in the air, and it's extremely delicious. The tocino de cielo, which is the last picture, it's a very typical dessert from that region, because in Jerez at the beginning they used to use egg yolks, egg whites to clarify the wine, as they do it in Bordeaux right now. So the remaining yolks, they used to send it to the las monjitas, to the monks and to the monasteries, so they can use it for dessert. So they create this delicious dessert only using water, sugar, and egg yolks. It's very good.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Then we need one day per town.
I gotta burst that bubble. Gotta get you guys back into my lab, huh? What an amazing wow. Well, we want to thank you for your wealth and your all this knowledge that you're sharing with us. I think that we're very, very, very happy, and I couldn't get anybody better than you to come here and to explain the cuisine of Spain, right? What do you guys think?
Yoo-hoo.
All right. All right, so thank you.
Thank you.
This program is brought to you by Miami Culinary Institute at Miami-Dade College. For more information about the schools and the Culinarium program, please visit www.miamidadeculinary.com or call 305-237-3276.